This conference will now be recorded.
Good evening, guys. Today we are discussing about how to manage constraints. What is managing constraints? Adding constraints to the old table and deleting constraints from old table, changing the constraints. How can I do these three? You can add constraints, delete constraints, change constraints by using alter command. What we can do, we can add constraints to the old table. We can delete constraints from the old table, and also we can change existed constraints. That is the use of alter command. Now, how to add constraints? First one, say we can use the keyword add. If you want to add a constraint, we can use the keyword add constraint. So how to add? See, by using add constraint keyword, you can add primary key, foreign key, check constraint, and also unique constraints. Actually, how many constraints are there? Just 5 constraints. Only 5. Not null, unique, primary key. 3 key constraints. Domain constraint, fourth one. And last one, foreign key. Just 5 constraints. In these 5 constraints, by using this keyword, we can add primary key, foreign key, check constraint, and also unique constraint. What you are missing here? Not null. You cannot add not null constraint by using this keyword. You cannot add not null constraint by using this keyword. First one, how to add primary key? How to add primary key? Alter table, table name. Add, here add, what you are adding? Constraint. So constraint friendly definition, constraint, friendly name, actual name, what you are adding? Primary key. Constraint, friendly name, primary key, within the brackets specify column name. On this column, we are adding primary key. Internally, primary key is managed with this friendly name. This is adding primary key. Same as unique. Same syntax. Just there is one keyword change. See, at the place of primary key, use unique. That's all. This is for adding unique. You can compare. See, alter table, table name, same line. Add, same keyword. Constraint friendly name, up to here, same. Constraint friendly name. What is the constraint you are adding? Unique. On which column? Specify the column in the brackets. Next, how to add check constraint. See, how to add check constraint. Alter table, table name, add. So constraint friendly name. See, in the 3 syntaxes up to here, it is the same. No change. Even for the foreign key also same. You can see the previous syntaxes also. See, 3 syntaxes you are seeing. First syntax for primary key, second syntax for unique, third syntax for check, domain constraint. Check, column, condition. Now, syntax 4. Here you are adding foreign key. So foreign key means there is some extension in the definition. That's all. See, alter table, table name, add constraint, friendly name, foreign key. Foreign key on which column? Specify the column name. But according to definition of foreign key, it is defined from primary key. So continue the definition. References, parent table name, primary key column name. If it is necessary, then use on delete cascade. This is for adding constraints. Okay, let me show you how to add constraints to the old table. I am talking about old table. Okay, so let me check the table names. Select table name from user tables. Only custody details. We don't have any tables. What is our user account 830? Is it right? Anybody remember? Mm, username is not existed. Yeah, I will do the spool also, don't worry. Oh, see, actually I connected to a different system by mistake. Okay, no problem. Let me continue. See what we have to do. So in the 830, I want to continue. So before that, connect as system slash manager underscore 5 at the rate pdb orcl. Now alter show container name pdb orcl. Let me connect as Dinesh 830. Connect as Dinesh 830 slash welcome at the rate pdb orcl. Okay, first let me start spool. I think our spool file name is 15th. Spool C drive under C drive slash. Let me check who are the users here. Since it is a different system, users, under users, there is a user PV. Under PV, there is a folder desktop. Okay, here, username PV, users, under users PV, under PV, desktop, under desktop, spool file, spool 15.txt, I think. Anyway, hit. Then in the desktop, you can see this file, spool 15.txt. What is the concept we are learning? Adding constraints to the old table. So what is the first step? The first step is create a table without constraints. How to create? Create table students. Here roll number. It's a number of 2. That's all. Student name. It's varchar 2 of 10. Student course name. It is also like varchar 2 of 10. Fee. It is a number of 5. And last mobile number, It is a number of 10. Finish. Table created. No constraints on the table. What is our target? Add constraints to the old table. Now, second step is see. Now add constraints. In that, the first one is add primary key on RNO column. This is what I want to do. How to add? Alter table. Table name is students. Add. What you are adding? Constraint. What is friendly name? PK RNO stood. And okay, studs. And what is the actual name? Primary key. Primary key you are adding on which column? Roll number. Finish. You added primary key on roll number column. Next one, say B. Add unique constraint on mobile number. Add unique constraint on mobile number column. How to add? Same query. Alter table students. Add. What you are adding? Constraint. Friendly name UK. Mobile number under studs table. What is actual name? Unique. On which column you are adding? Mobile number. Altered. Okay. Now, what is the next one? Adding check constraint. What is the check constraint? C. Define roll number value between 1 and 99. It is a range. How to define? Alter table students. Add. I am adding constraint. What is the constraint? Check roll number under the table stats. So here, check. What you are checking? Roll number value between 1 and 99. RNO between 1 and 99. Finish. Completed. 3 constraints you added. 3 constraints you added. Understand? So in this user account, we have another table. Why? Because I want to show you example for foreign key. So I have a table, another table, that is customer details. Select star from customer details. Okay, describe customer details. CNO, CNAMO, city, gender. Let me insert 2 records. Insert into customer details values CNO 1001, CNAME A, city HYD, gender male. Just I am inserting 1 record. First record inserted. Similarly, second record 1002, student name B, HYD, student gender female. How many students? How many customers? 2 customers. From the customer details table, I want to create order details table. Create order details table. Actually, to create this, we need one more table, product. Anyway, casually let me create order details table from customer details table based on customer table. How to create table orders. First, order number. It's a number of 3. Order date type data. Hmm, Order quantity. Order quantity. Quantity is also number of 2. Next, order amount. So order payment is number of 5. Last one, order is raised by which customer? So we have to maintain customer number. We should maintain customer number. Let me create customer number. It's a number of 5. It's a number of 5. Finish. Table created. So what is the parent table? This is the parent table. What is the child table? This is the child table. Okay. Now I want to find out constraints on customer table. Find constraints on customer table. Why should I find out? Because we need primary key in the parent table. How to find constraints? Select constraint name from user constraints where table name equal to customer details. PK is there. So if there is primary key, then definitely we can define foreign key on CNO. Now what is my target is define foreign key or add FK on the column CNO under the table orders. In the order table, I want to add foreign key. How to add? Order table. Table name is orders. Add constraint FK on CNO under the table orders. Actual name foreign key on which column? CNO. So foreign key you are adding on CNO, it should be references from which table? Parent. What is parent table name? Customer details. Under this, what is primary key column? CNO. That's all. Added. So why should I create orders table means I want to show you how to add foreign key in the order table CNO column. For that reason, I created orders table. So you understand how to add primary key, unique key, check constraint, and foreign key. Now Here in the order table, order date should be not null. There should be order date compulsory, you have to maintain. Under order quantity is also not null. So how to add not null constraint? Come to here. How to add not null constraint? We can add not null constraint by using alter command with keyword modify. Don't use add keyword for the not null. It's impossible. See, what is the syntax? Alter table, table name. Modify column name, data type, size. At last specify not null. Either this is default method. So not null constraint internally maintained with system defined number. This is one method. What is alternate method? The alternate method is this: alter table, table name, modify column name, data type, size, and here immediately don't specify not null. So for the not null, I want to maintain friendly name. So constraint, friendly name, and then not null. So not null constraint internally maintained with user friendly name. Here you don't have friendly name, so it is maintained with system defined constraint number. Here we have friendly name, so it is internally maintained with friendly name. Come to here. What is my target? Add not null constraint on the column order quantity. Order quantity. How to add? Alter table. Table name is orders. Add. No add. Don't use add. To add not null constraint, modify. What is the column name? Order quantity. Come to here. Order quantity number of 2. Order quantity number of 2. Here I want to define with user friendly name constraint not null on the column quantity under the table orders. Constraint name is not null. Altered. So in the orders table we added foreign key and we added not null constraint. Check it out. Check it out. See, find out constraints from order table. Find out constraint names from orders table. Select constraint name from user constraints where table name equal to orders. You can see two constraints. Not null constraint on quantity, FK constraint on C and O. I hope you understand how to add constraints. We discussed how to add all types of constraints. Okay, listen, one more example I'm showing you relating to not null. Add not null constraint not null. On the column order date, here is one way to add not null constraint. Okay, I am following another way, means I don't use this line. This I don't use this on this column. Alter table orders, modify column name order date. I think ORD date. Let me check the column name here again. ORD date. ORD date is date type. Just use not null. Finish. So now you have three constraints on the table orders. Check here. You can see three constraints. Last not null constraint not defined with friendly name. So it is internally managing with system defined constraint number. So what is my next target? So we know how to add constraints. Now how to delete constraints. Understand how to delete constraints. Simple. If you want to delete any constraint, whatever it's not null, null, anything, any constraint can be deleted with the keyword drop constraint. Alter table name, drop constraint name. Maybe the constraint name is user friendly constraint name or system defined constraint number. Anything is valid. Again, alter table name, drop constraint, specify the friendly name of constraint or number of the constraint. Let me show you here. Here, how many constraints you have on the table orders? Three constraints. This is not null. This is also not null. This is foreign key. First, let me delete foreign key constraint. Delete fk from CNO column in orders table. Alter table orders orders drop constraint. Drop constraint name is fk CNO orders. Altered. So last constraint is deleted from the table orders. Fine. Similarly, can I delete not null constraint from quantity column? Yes, you can delete. Not null constraint from quantity column. Yeah, see, I am deleting not null constraint with modify, not with drop constraint. With the modify keyword, I want to do that. Yes, you can do. See, here I'm writing that point. Delete not null constraint from quantity column using modify keyword. You can also delete. See, alter table. What is the table name? Orders. Modify column name. ORDQTY. Column data type number of 2. Just use null. What is the meaning of this? This column can accept null values. Means this column can accept null values. Means not null constraint on this column will be deleted automatically. Table altered. How many constraints deleted? 2 constraints. Next one, it is a not null constraint defined on order date. It is a not null constraint defined on order date. I want to delete that constraint. By using drop constraint, I want to delete this. By using drop constraint, I want to delete this. See, delete not null constraint from order date column. Now alter table orders. Drop constraint. Actually, after drop constraint, we are writing friendly name, but you can also write use system defined number also. Table altered. How many constraints deleted from the table orders? 3. So there are no constraints on the table orders. Verify. Now verify resultant constraints on the table orders. Select constraint name, comma, okay, constraint name from user constraints where table name equal to orders. You don't get any constraints because we deleted all 3 constraints. No rows are selected. I hope you understand. This is about adding constraints and also deleting constraints. Now, next one is, what is this enable or disable constraint? Say, before going to that, we have a table students. Let me take the table students. Get constraints and types and status of constraints from the table students. Select constraint name, constraint type, and also status of a constraint from user constraints where table name equal to students. So first constraint name, this is the constraint name, check constraint. Constraint type, check constraint represented with C. And what is the default status of a constraint? Enabled. Similarly, second constraint, unique on mobile number. It is represented with the letter U and default status is enabled. Similarly, primary key on RNO represented with P, its status is also enabled. right? So if you define any constraint, what is the default status of a constraint? Enabled. If you define any constraint, what is the default status of a constraint? Enabled. Okay, but you can also disable the constraint. So at any time, we can enable or disable constraints. So if we define any constraint, then by default constraint is in enabled state. So you can disable the constraint as well as you can enable the constraint. No, Vijay, we don't have any permission to enable or disable. Why are you maintaining constraints? To maintain valid data in the tables. If you disable it, ultimately what is happening? Table accept invalid data. If you are entering invalid data, what is the use of constraint? So we don't have any permission to disable the constraint. Always constraint should be in enabled status. But we have a different constraint that we will see tomorrow. Okay, let me continue with this. See, we can enable or disable constraint like this. Alter table name. If you want to enable constraint, use this enable constraint name. If you want to disable the constraint, then disable constraint name, right? Let me check here. So these are the constraints on student. Let me insert two records. Insert into students values. First value 1A. Okay. Then Oracle fee 10,000. Mobile number. So 78900011112. This is the mobile number. First row created. Let me insert second record. Here stu 7 Oracle 10,000 fee, different mobile number 88 inserted. Now disable primary key. I want to disable primary key. Disable primary key. Alter table students. Disable constraint pk rlo studs. So it was disabled. Check the status of the constraints. How to check status? Select constraint name, comma, status from user constraints where table name equal to students. These two are enabled and last one is disabled. If a constraint disabled, can I enter invalid data into the table? What is the constraint? Primary key. Now present what is the data? Select star from students. This is the data. Primary key disabled. So can I enter null value? Yes, you can enter. Insert into so and so. Here I want to enter null value. Name is Sri. Oracle 1000 and remaining everything is fine. Null value accepted into primary key column because primary key was disabled. Okay, can I enter duplicate value into primary key? Yes. Here 1 and Oracle 10,000 and some no mobile number. So if a constraint was disabled, then table is accepting invalid data. Do you want to maintain invalid data? No. So don't try to disable any constraint. But in very rare cases, we should disable. We should maintain some data. After some time, I don't want to accept invalid data. From which time you don't want to accept invalid data? At that time, you can enable the constraint. That we will discuss tomorrow. Okay, here it was disabled, everything is fine. Now, what is the data from the table? Check here. This is the data. From this moment, listen carefully, guys. Somebody asking me some questions related to disable or enable. Say, up to here, don't worry about data validity. This is old data. At that time, I don't know how to maintain valid data according to business. But today onwards, I don't want to accept a single invalid value into the table. Today onwards, don't get invalid value into primary key column. So from this moment, if you don't want to accept primary key, if you don't want to accept invalid value, can I enable primary key right now? Impossible. See, try to enable. Alter table students enable constraint pk rno studs cannot validate primary key violated. Don't try to enable primary key. So if a column having invalid data at any moment, at any time, then you cannot enable that constraint, normal constraint. But what is my target? Up to now, don't verify any validity. But from this moment onwards, I don't want to accept invalid values. If I don't want to accept invalid data, I should enable constraint. But normal constraint cannot be enabled like that. Normal constraint cannot be enabled like that. Only deferable constraints can be enabled like that. Deferable constraints. That part we will discuss tomorrow. But for the time being, remember, normal constraint can be enabled, disabled. But after disabled, if you enter invalid value, then normal constraint cannot be enabled. Okay, that part we have to remember, and that point you should remember carefully. Why? Because tomorrow's session is continuation of this point. What is normal constraint and what is deferable constraint? That we will see tomorrow. That's all for today. See you tomorrow. Yes, good night. Thank you, all of you.